What's up, Guardians? Welcome to DNA Weekly Strike. Corey, Brian. We've been talking an awful lot about the division lately and how we're going to kind of change up the show, and a little bit about Destiny last week. But this week, we have a very specific question from our friend at CodFanFF.
He likes the fish, not the game.
Yeah, the fish, not the game. How do you perk your soldier in Call of Duty? I know you went over it in the podcast, just want to hear more in depth about attachments and making your weapons special, etc. Brian, how do you make your soldier in Call of Duty?
Well, this is one of the things that I really like about Black Ops specifically versus some of the other games is you can really spec your guy for your game style with the 10 perk/attachment thing.
Yeah, the Pick 10 thing.
The Pick 10, yeah, perfect. The Pick 10 really is. That's one of the big reasons that I really liked all. Well, they didn't have it in the first Black Ops, but they had it in Black Ops 2.
Yeah.
And I really liked it. Maybe they did have it in the first Black Ops. I don't remember. But it's really cool.
Wasn't it like Pick 6 in Black Ops 1, and then in Black Ops 2 they changed it to 10?
It might have been. It was Pick something, and they didn't have as many attachments back then. But
yeah.
You can really spec you can really make your guy so much how you want him to be versus like other games where it's like every soldier's the same and you can only put like 2 different attachments on your gun. Like each gun has like 8 different attachments plus like all the perks that you can choose. So you can really do some damage to like make the guy how you want him. Part of the problem is I don't know how certain people like to play, so I'm just gonna go over like a couple different builds. We'll start with the one that I use. And he's more of a run and gun type guy. I like to constantly be moving around the map. I don't like to sit in one spot.
I'm just going to sit back and listen.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably a good idea. I don't like to just sit in one spot. I have to be moving constantly. So we'll go with the gun first. If you're one of those players that really likes to be moving around constantly, you're always on the move. Submachine gun are fantastic in this year's game. I've never been an SMG guy in Call of Duty. They usually have like one that really stands out. In this game, there are like 3 or 4 that are just fantastic in the submachine gun category. My favorite is the VMP, but other good choices, I know a lot of people swear by the Razorback, which is the last one you unlock. Also, I know people really like the Kuda, the very first one that you get. And the Vesper is another decent choice. Has a very, very fast fire rate, so you better have a grip on that gun. So if you're a guy who likes the SMGs, I'm just going to go with the VMP. What I'm going to attach onto my VMP, I actually will run just the iron sights. Like that's one of the big reasons or things that I look for in a gun in this game is a gun that has good iron sights because I don't like putting a sight on my gun because that's going to take up one of my Pick 10.
Right.
So if I can find a gun that works well, has good iron sights, that I don't need to take up a slot, that's awesome. So the VMP has really good sights. It doesn't, cover up a lot of your screen. Some of them have like the iron sights that have like the circle that goes like above it, so it blocks part of your screen. I don't like that. This doesn't have that. So I'm gonna run no sight on it. Don't need it. The one attachment that you really, really have to have on any SMG, in my opinion, except for maybe the Kuda, is a grip, because those things will kick. You know what I mean? Because they all have such a fast rate of fire that they also. I grip all my SMGs. I also will put stock on everything. SMG, assault rifle, it doesn't matter. I put stock on every single weapon that I use. Stock makes it so you can move faster while aiming, and if you can't get shot, you're gonna last a lot longer. So I like being able to move. If you
don't get shot, you're going to last longer.
I mean, that's pretty accurate.
Pro tip.
That's pretty. That is a pro tip. Even the stupidest sounding things, they're pro tips, man. If you're hard to hit, you're going to live longer. That's just how it is. And most people will just run at you in a straight line. I've noticed that, or they'll be, so when I shoot at someone, I'm always moving left to right constantly. So good luck hitting that. So stock will make that even easier to do. Those are really the only 2 attachments I'm going to run. on my SMG. Sometimes I'll run extended mag if I'm using the Vesper because that thing just eats through ammo because it shoots so fast. Some people like to use rapid fire. You don't need it on like VMP or anything. They already shoot fast enough, and now it's kind of pointless in my opinion to run rapid fire on an SMG. Another one that I kind of like is laser sight on my SMG. This is still my run and gun class, but that's just so when you're running around, you don't even have to aim down the sights. You can just hip fire it. That laser sight makes that easier. You don't need quick draw on an SMG. You can already aim down the sights pretty quick. So that's going to be my gun setup. And you can play around that. You know, if like my brother, for instance, he is obsessed with attachments. He likes to have 3 or 4 attachments. He swears by it. He does, and he also likes the VMP. He swears by using a bunch of attachments. I don't feel like you need them, personally. I think stock and grip are the 2 most important that you're going to need on an SMG. So I'll run with those. I don't usually run with the secondary unless I have one slot open. I'll run with a launcher just to take out UAVs, kills like score streaks. Just take those out. As soon as a UAV pops up, if you have someone on your team popping those down, you don't realize how big that is for like to help your team out. So I always run. If I have an open slot, I will try to run a launcher just to take that kind of stuff out, and you get points for it, which is nice because it helps you build towards your kill streak. So we're going to go ahead and go to perks, which I think is, between attachments and perks, those are the 2 most important things you're going to run. I usually will not run with anything in my perk 1 slot. I don't really think any of them are that good. The best one in there is Ghost, and I'll get to that one when I do my silent one. You just want to be silent as possible. I don't run anything in perk 1. Perk 2, I'm going to run fast hands. That's so you can aim faster after sprinting, and I'm running around constantly, so that's a good one to have. Perk 3 that's my favorite slot. I usually always run 2 perks in perk 3. If I'm using my run and gun, I don't necessarily need awareness because I'm moving around so much, but I will use dead silence. I don't want people to know that I'm running up on them. I don't want people to hear me. I don't want to hear myself. I hate that I hate that you can hear yourself running around. It makes sense. But so I'll run dead silence, and then there's a couple other ones I might run. I kind of like engineer. That's so you can see other people's equipment and stuff because people have trip mines and electric shocks down all over the place. You can also see the hive specialist. That's the guy that shoot down the swarms of like nanomites that can eat you if you run by them. So while I'm running around trying to get behind these guys, I don't want to run through anybody's equipment. So you can run engineer. I also like to jump a lot. So there's one called blast suppressor, I believe. So when you jump, it doesn't make any sounds. It doesn't show up on the minimap. So I'll run dead silence in either blast suppressor or engineer. And those are pretty much it for my perks. And then after that, if I have slots open, like I said, I'll run a launcher, or I might even put a sight on it if I have one left. But that's my run and gun. You're just nonstop moving. And that's a really good class to play. You're really quick. You have that SMG. You can move fast. And you can do a lot of damage.
Yeah.
Specialist, that's really up to you. They are actually more important than you think. If you're going to run around and be sprinting, there's a couple good choices. The Ripper, the Spectre with the melee Ripper is pretty good. The Ruin gravity spikes also very well because if you're running up and you walk into a room and there's 3 guys there, you just use your gravity spikes, 3 kills. Pretty sweet. Those are my 2 favorite. Overdrive isn't bad either with the Ruin. That makes you can run faster, which doesn't sound that sweet, but it actually is. You don't realize how hard it is to shoot someone who's using overdrive. They just move at an insanely quick speed, and it's pretty sweet. So that's kind of my run and gun guy, and that's what I use pretty much all the time. Kill streaks, I use high kill streaks. I don't recommend that for everyone. If you can't get big strings of kills going, don't try to use the Wraith and the Raps and stuff like that. I use the Sentry, Wraith, and Raps. The Wraith is the ship that comes in that shoots, and then the Rapes is my favorite one because back in the day, my favorite kill streak was the Attack Dogs. Those were my favorite. And this kind of reminds me of that. It's a ship that drops these balls, these exploding balls that like follow, like chase after people. So if you drop both of those in together, people are screwed.
Yeah.
Because you're trying to run from one. The Wraith is shooting you from the sky. This is shooting you from. These are following you around the ground. You can't run into buildings.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's how I run. That's how I got that 51-4. I got those kill streaks twice in that game.
Ridiculous. I'm using that screenshot as the
Yeah.
cover photo of this
So
episode.
yeah, and in that game I was using my running gun, but I was using an assault rifle because I'm trying to get the diamond camos. So you can use any gun with those perks. I recommend the SMG because you're going to get up close to people, and the assault rifle will lose to SMGs, and people really like the shotguns in this game. They are good. The range is a little... If you think the range is bad in Destiny, you should see how far these shotguns can shoot.
Dude, the range is awful in Destiny, and by awful I mean it's far.
Oh, no, dude. Like, they are so ridiculous. That's the only issue. Like, I think the weapon balancing is fantastic in Call of Duty. You can pick pretty much any gun you want and be successful. But the shotguns are just... I even started using them a little bit because the range is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
But you got to be careful when running around because you will run into people using shotguns and they'll end your kill streaks real quick.
Yeah.
If that's not your game style, if you are more of a I want to sit, stay back, hold down an area, some people might want to call it camping. I don't really care how you play. If you want to sit somewhere, I'm going to come find you and I'm going to kill you.
Right.
Some people think it's a weak way to play. Whatever. It's the game. I don't mind it. But if you're one of those guys that wants to sit in an area, I just kind of like, you're not so much camping, but you're watching an area of the map, like a whole side of the map or something. I would not recommend using an SMG. I would actually recommend using an assault rifle or something where you're going to stay in the sights. Some good choices are the XR2 is a burst auto rifle that it's a burst, but you don't have to let up on the trigger. Two bursts.
It's like a full auto burst rifle.
It's a full auto burst. It does good damage. Very good gun. It's one of my favorite guns in the game. The Shiva is a semi-automatic 2-shot kill anywhere. The M8A7, also a burst. I like guns that do more damage if you're going to do assault rifles. And if you're going to watch an area, I want the least amount of shots that's going to take someone down. With these guns, I am always running a sight. I'm always going to run like an ELO sight is my favorite. If you're trying to like watch a longer area, like you're trying to watch an alleyway, there's a Varix 3 where you can actually like change your zoom. Those are okay. I just recommend the ELO. You can see everyone from where you're at. I recommend then using even a grip if you want. Most assault rifles aren't going to kick that much, so you don't need it. Again, stock. That's a must. I like quick draw on my assault rifles, but that's because I run around with them, and I need to be able to pull it up quick if I'm going up against an SMG. If you're just trying to hold down an area, you don't really need a quick draw because you're already going to be in your sights. So, like I said, stock is a big one. This is the one I actually really like, high caliber, and that's where headshots do more damage. I really like that. But I'm aiming for headshots all the time. So on my assault rifles, I run stock, quick draw, and high caliber, and that's pretty much it. And that's even more attachments than and a sight. You can run. You don't really need anything in that first perk. Second perk, I would run scavenger. And that's when you kill people, you can pick up more ammo because you're not going to be moving a lot, so you might be able to get more kills. Also, you want to use something like trip mines or shock charges, and if you use scavenger and you kill someone, you can get more of those. So if you're holding down an area, I highly recommend the trip mines. And I'm pretty sure I've said this before, throw them on the ceiling. Do not throw them on the ground. They're so easy to see. Throw them on the ceiling. People will not see that coming. If you pair it with a shock charge, it's like a guaranteed kill because they'll run through the shock charge, get stunned, and then that'll go off. It's a guaranteed kill. And then in that last perk, I actually recommend awareness, and because you want to know if someone's coming up behind you.
Right.
If you're just holding down an area, you want to know if someone's coming behind you. And then it's very important to have like a trip mine and electric charge. So you actually need equipment and with that kind of class. For specialist, I would run the Nomad. Not my favorite, but he has the Hive. and you can shoot those down, and people will run through that for days trying to get to you. Once they know where you're at and they want to come get you, if you have the hive guy and you put those in very strategic locations, in doorways, stuff like that, like coming up the stairs, you will get so many kills, it's ridiculous. Not my favorite class to play with.
Right.
You could even throw Ghost on that class. If I think Ghost, if you wanted to use something in perk 1, if you're going to play one of those, I don't want to call it the camping class or whatever, you can throw Ghost on there so they won't know where you're at when you have a UAV, and even like Hardwired for your perk 2 if you don't like Scavenger. Not my favorite class to play. I don't usually play like that, but it can be very successful. Another class is the silent run and gun, where you're going to run, again, an SMG or an assault rifle. Obviously, as you can tell, I'm not really big into light machine guns, snipers, things like that. Another good gun, though, for the camping class is the Gorgon, though. Light machine gun. It's a slow fire rate LMG that's a 2-shot kill. It just does massive damage, and if you're set up shop and you're already in your sights because they take forever, you really need to run quick draw even if you're going to be camping with it. But that thing just does ridiculous damage, and if you're already scoped in and someone walks into your sights, they're dead before they even knew. Right. I mean, you hear the gun go off and you're dead. So the Gorgon's not a bad choice for someone who wants to do some camping. But another good class, a silent run and gun, where you're going to run like an SMG or an assault rifle, a sight if you want it. You got to have a suppressor in stock, and usually grip or quick draw, depending on if you're using an SMG or a assault rifle. And then you're going to run perks like Ghost, Hardwired, and Dead Silence, and people will never know you're coming. Good specialists for that, again, are the same ones for the run and gun, things like that. My favorite specialist, I didn't even mention, is the Fire Break, the guy with the flamethrower. Just because you can clear out a room so fast, it's not even funny.
Yeah.
So, and those are just some of the builds, but like the cool thing about this game is you got to figure out how you want to play, and then just play around with stuff.
Yeah.
Like I played around with all the perks and figured out, well, this one's kind of worthless. I don't really use this. Scavenger, that's a great perk. And you would think, oh, for run and gun, you're probably going to use a lot of ammo. But I just pick up other people's weapons. Right. Because I don't really use a secondary, so I just as soon as I kill someone, I just pick it up and I just store that for when I run out of ammo. Yeah. That's why I don't use like extended mag. You just have to be smart with your pick 10. Yeah. Like don't use things that are like going to take up a slot that are like pointless to use. Right. That's like so you just got to experiment, figure out how you want to play. I like to move around and run. I even changed my weapon controller configuration because before I like to jump around. It's like I said, it's very hard to hit a moving target. I mean, you just don't realize how better you'll get if you're running around, strafing left to right. Jumping while shooting is kind of a hard thing to learn, but once you get it, because the jumping mechanism in this game, it's not quite like Destiny, but you jump and then you have like thrusters, so you can like really get some air. You can run on walls and stuff. That doesn't mean I recommend doing this. Yeah. If you can't like handle moving around a lot, like don't try to be fancy. If it because it's also very easy to kill you if you're wall running. Right. But you can change your weapon or your controller configuration so that your jump is not A. Because I don't like how I had to leave the joystick to jump. So you can change it so that you hit the right stick in to jump, so you never lose control of your guy in the air. So I can jump and still be aiming without having to move my hand back and forth. And then like melee goes to A. Yeah. So that's a big tip. If you want to like learn to be like a jumper and mover, I would recommend. I can't remember what it's called, but that's like my biggest tip is to change your controller configuration so that the jump is the right stick. You'll notice a big difference.
And remember, if you keep moving and you're hard to hit, you'll last longer.
Dude, you would be surprised at how many people just kind of run in a straight line in that game and don't like move around, and they're just such an easy kill. The guys who struggle moving, you know where I learned this tactic? Laser tag.
Laser tag.
I'm not even joking. Me and a couple buddies went to a lock-in, like on Halloween. This was back in like middle school or high school or something. And there were some interesting characters out that night. We'll just call it what it is. But they would like dance around, like they would move around so much in the thing, and you couldn't hit them. They were impossible to shoot. And I'm like, man, this is the trick. So I'm not even joking. If you're jumping around and you're moving, it's gonna feel weird at first because you're like, oh, it's really hard to like locate guys.
Yeah.
But once you get it down, you have no idea how many more kills you're gonna get just by being mobile and like, because so many people are stationary and they're just kind of walking or they're running in a straight line or they're just running left or right. Like if you move back and forth, you're up and down. They don't know where you're gonna be.
Yeah.
And it's hard to locate you.
Yeah.
So if you can learn to get your shots off in the air, stuff like that, you're gonna notice you're gonna get like 5, 6, 7 more kills a game. Your kill to death is gonna go up. You can start using better kill streaks because that's how I get most of my kills. Is
Yeah.
I build up my kill streaks, I drop that wraith and those wraps in, and I can just kind of, and then it's easy to get kills because everyone's just running for their life and they're not even paying any attention to you
Right.
because they're just trying to run away from everything. So
Yeah.
those are my tips.
You heard it here, kids. Pro tips. Brian Anderson.
Move around.
Move around. You'll last longer.
Move around. Use higher kill streaks once you get used to the game.
Yeah.
Use a gun that you like. If you don't like the VMP, try out the Vest. You try out every gun. I know some people like the Weevil. Some people like the Pharaoh. Those aren't my favorites, but I've seen people be very successful with it.
Yeah.
And like I said, some people love attachments. Like my brother will go four attachments. He doesn't really care about the perks. He doesn't think those really help. I care more about the perks.
Right.
I feel like the attachments, a lot of them don't really help. FMJ sounds awesome, Full Metal Jacket, but personally, I don't, because it says it does more damage. It's only like so you can continue shooting like through objects.
Gotcha.
Like it doesn't like if I shoot you in the open, it's not going to kill you any faster.
Right.
So I don't really usually use that. Like I said, I do like high caliber. I think that's a new attachment they added this year where headshots do more damage. So those are pretty sweet.
Awesome.
But a lot of them, extended mag, fast mag, stuff like that. I'm trying to think what some of the other ones are. Laser sight is worthless on an assault rifle. You don't want that. Suppressor's good. Quick draw. Grip, you don't really need. Grip is a must for SMGs. Like those are you just gotta play around with stuff. Specialist, it's whatever. It's whatever you like.
Yeah.
I've used them all. I don't really have a favorite. So
Yeah.
the flamethrower guy is pretty sweet.
Well, we're going to wrap up this episode. I didn't really have much to say because I haven't played Call of Duty in a couple of years, but I was going to...
You have watched me play, though.
Yeah, I was going to buy Black Ops 3, but I bought 2 copies of Fire Emblem instead, so...
Yeah, that's probably a good choice for you.
Yeah.
It's a great game, though.
Oh my gosh, it's awesome. It's awesome. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Weekly Strike. Remember, you can find all of our content on digitalnerdadvocates.com and right here on our YouTube page. Like, subscribe, and share. Leave a comment below. Let us know what you want to see on the next Weekly Strike. And until next week, we're out.
Go get some kills, soldier.